So what is a fruit? The ovary, we know the pre-fertilization structure, right? Ovule, where the ovule is present in the ovary, right? So the ovary, it develops into a fruit. And the transformation of the ovules into seeds and ovary into fruit proceeds simultaneously. So both of them are occurring simultaneously, right? The wall of the ovary, it develops into pericarp, that is the outer wall of the fruit, and the fruit may be either fleshy or dry. So this is an example of the fruit. All these, that is the inner one is the endocarp, and this is the fleshy mesocarp, and exocarp, they form the pericarp. I hope you are clear with the structure of the fruit, right? So we already discussed under the morphology of the flowering plants about the different types of fruits, right? So today we'll see in brief about the types of fruits even. So the fruits can be classified into simple fruits and also about the aggregate fruits and about the composite fruits. These are the different types of fruits, right? So simple fruits are they develop from a monocarpillary ovary, from a single carpel, right? Monocarpillary or multicarpillary, monocarpillary or multicarpillary, syncarpous ovary, right? Fused. And here, if it is an aggregate fruit, they are formed from a multicarpillary apocarpus, that is free, right? Multicarpillary, many carpels, apocarpus is free ovary. And in the case of composite fruits, they develop from a complete inflorescence. Complete inflorescence. So the fruits may be either fleshy or it may be dry, right? So these are the three important types of fruits: simple fruits, aggregate fruits, and composite fruits, right? So, and there are two different types of fruits based on the formation. For example, true fruits and false fruits. So what do you mean by a true fruit? If it develops only from the ovary, if only the ovary develops into a fruit, it is a true fruit, and all other floral parts other than this ovary, everything will degenerate and fall off. So this is in the case of most of the plants. So if you take most of the plants, the ovary will develop into a fruit. So those fruits are called true fruits. So what is a false fruit? Some cases other than the ovary, some other part, they may develop into a fruit. For example, in the case of apple, what we see as a fruit is actually a thalamus. Thalamus, what do you mean by a thalamus? Thalamus is the swollen part of the stalk, right? So the thalamus, it contributes to the fruit formation. Example, an apple, strawberry, cashew, etc. So they are all examples for the false fruit. So clear with this, no? So Akanksha, you are able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So these are the two types of fruits, right? And also there are different types like dehiscent fruits and indehiscent fruits. So what do you mean by dehiscent and indehiscent? Dehiscent fruits. So these dehiscent fruit, that is, they will dehisce and they liberate seeds, right? They liberate seeds at maturity. At maturity, they are called dehiscent fruits. So example of pea, bean, so they dehisce and liberate seeds. They are called dehiscent fruits. And there is another category which is called the indehiscent fruits. Indehiscent fruits. So indehiscent fruits means they do not liberate seeds at maturity. So here the examples are cashew nut, and cereals. So they are examples for indehiscent fruits. So actually we even saw under morphology the different other types also, like berry, drupe, everything, right? So these are the main types on the basis of the type of ovary that is present, simple fruits and the composite aggregate fruits and composite fruits, and dehiscent and indehiscent fruits based on the release of the seeds or how it liberates the seeds at maturity, right? So true fruits and false fruits are the classification based on how the fruit develops, either from the ovary or from some other part, right? So the fruits are of different types. So in some species, the fruit develop without fertilization, that is even without the fusion. Such fruits are called parthenocarpic fruits. So example for the parthenocarpic fruit is banana, right? So this parthenocarpy, it can be induced through the application of growth hormones. And such fruits are seedless. So nowadays we are seeing so many seedless fruit, right? So these seedless fruits, they are all formed by the parthenocarpy. That is the fruit developed without fertilization, and they are called the parthenocarpic fruits. Okay. So it can be induced through the application of growth hormones. And then the next feature is apomixes and polyembryony. So what do you mean by apomixes? The term apo means without. So without mixing. So without mixing in a sense, so it is the production of seeds without fertilization. So without the fusion, right? So apomixes is the production of seeds without fertilization. So example is some species of Asteraceae and grasses. So it is a form of asexual reproduction since there occurs no fusion. So it is similar to the asexual reproduction that mimics sexual reproduction, right? So apomixes is a form of asexual reproduction which mimics the sexual reproduction. So what is the role of this apomictic seeds? So what is the use of this apomictic seeds? In some species, diploid egg cell is formed without reduction division and it develops into embryo without fertilization. So there is no fertilization, but what is happening? The diploid egg cell is formed. There occurs a formation of a diploid egg cell without the fertilization. Okay. So egg cell is formed without reduction and that develops into one embryo. So that is called the apomixes, right? But in some cases, such as citrus and mango varieties, some new cellular cells surrounding the embryo sac, they divide, protrude into one embryo sac to form embryos. So here each ovule contains many embryos. So this is actually called adventive polyembryony. So that occurs in formation of many embryos. So actually in the case of embryony, polyembryony, there are two types. One is called the simple polyembryony. Simple polyembryony, and another one is adventive polyembryony. In the case of simple polyembryony, what happens is due to the fertilization, that is, this is occurred to the due to the fertilization of more than one egg. If there occurs the fertilization of more than one egg, that is called the simple polyembryony. Okay, clear? And what do you mean by adventive polyembryony? So this occurs either that is due to the division of the nucellar cells. Well, what is the nucellar cells? We know that in the structure of the ovule, right? Embryo sac, and inside the embryo sac there will be an egg. So in the case of simple polyembryony, there will be formation. Polyembryony means more embryo formation, right? That is occurrence of more than one embryo in a seed is called polyembryony. So if that is happening due to the fertilization of more than one egg, it is called simple polyembryony. In some cases, what is happening? Instead of this egg, that is that fertilization of more than one egg, what is happening is the nucellar cells which is surrounding the embryo sac. So this is an embryo sac where the egg is present and surrounding is the nucellar, right? So these cells which surrounds the embryo sac, they protrude into the embryo sac and they form embryos. So which leads to the formation of many embryos. So that is called adventive polyembryony, and this may occur even through sporophytic budding. Sporophytic budding, that also will lead to the formation of many embryos, right? So the polyembryony may be either a simple polyembryony or it may be a adventive polyembryony. Okay.